Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Ankerstar Wealth Morning Show. I'm your host, Allison Ankerstar, and today we'll be talking about today's speeches by both Jay Powell and President Biden. We'll also talk about Google's new AI called Bard, and lastly, whether or not you should buy an annuity. But before we begin, as a reminder, this is a financial education presentation and should not be construed as personal financial advice. Full disclaimer information is available at ankerstarwealth.com. Good morning, Steve. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell speaks this afternoon, and President Biden will give his State of the Union speech tonight. Will either of these move the markets?
Hey, good morning, Allison, and good morning, everybody. And one will, the other will not, right? So the one that will is going to be Chairman Powell's speech this afternoon, or it should. It depends on what he says. And of course, it could move it up or down. It is a tradable event. If you were going to, thinking that the market's going to move one way or the other, you can hop in. As far as investing, we'll just kind of have to wait and see what he does. As far as the president's State of the Union address tonight, if you've watched these, and I used to watch them all the time as a younger person, especially while I was on active duty, because a lot of times they could affect me directly as to what we're doing. But now it's too much political theater for me, with all the standing up and clapping and blah, blah, blah. I'll catch the script of what was said later on. I don't really think that there's going to be anything that's kind of market related, if you will. I think the president will do a couple, will spend most of it trumpeting the successes that he's had and or the angles of saying of what successes that he thinks he had, sort of thing. And, other political stuff. So really, I don't think that's going to move anything. But as far as Powell's speech, you can see we're kind of light and mixed here at the open. We'll click on it. Remember, he's speaking today at the National Economic Forum. I don't have an exact time. Economic Club of Washington. I misspoke there. Don't have an exact time for when that is, but certainly that will dominate CNBC this afternoon and probably the other channels as well. So what can happen? Well, it was last week when they raised a quarter point, right? And now we're at that point. If you really go back to what the Fed was saying, at the beginning of 2022 about the, raise rates and then taper off and then pause, we're kind of at that pause moment. And if he's leaning more towards pause with what he's saying, then you'll see the market scream higher. If he's leaning more towards, data dependency and we'll probably need more to combat inflation, well, then you'll see the markets probably sell off a little bit. So we shall see. But I do expect some major movement in the markets this afternoon based off of what he says. And since it's only been, 5 days, calendar days or whatever, since he spoke last time with very prepared remarks, maybe he doesn't say a whole lot one way or the other. So we'll have to stay tuned to see what Chairman Powell says and how it affects the markets.
Next, yesterday, Google released its AI competitor to ChatGPT. It is called Bard. What do we know so far?
Well, all I know is that I was kind of wondering, you hear this ChatGPT and it starts getting, all this hoopla, it's kind of like Google, where you at, right? Because you would imagine that Google would be the one to come out with something like this. And indeed, they had it. Obviously, they hadn't released it up to this point. So maybe it wasn't quite ready for prime time. Maybe it's still not. I don't know. I've not tried it yet. I don't know if it is open source to be able to go to bard.com or whatever and try it out. I will take a look at it maybe today, if not tomorrow. At some point, I do want to check it out and see, because Google is one of our major positions, right? So I think certainly if you talk ownership, ChatGPT is owned by OpenAI, which Microsoft has, bought a large portion of. Some people speculate they're going to buy all of it, right? And it'll become a Microsoft type tool. Don't know how that will play out, but certainly with Google owning the Bard AI directly, if it's competitive, I think people will probably, just roll right into that, especially if you can go to, google.com and right there you have it sitting, right there, right? You're going to use that versus going to OpenAI and getting a login and all that nonsense, right? So I think Google stands to benefit directly from people using this. Now, how do they monetize it? I don't know. I don't think it's a monetization type thing, other than it's a wave of the future, and obviously be good for the stock just because it's so many more eyeballs and people using it. Brings in advertising and other things that can be associated with it. So overall, I was excited to see Google kind of get with the program here and come out with at least what they've got that they've been working on. Maybe Apple has something. Who knows who else is working on these AI type chat type tools, if you will. But overall, it's good to see Google come out with theirs. Look forward to using it.
Last, when should people buy an annuity?
Well, annuities, I I always start out by saying I'm not anti-annuity, okay, but if you have to say it right, so I am kind of anti-annuity. So, but it can be right for certain people. I can't be, as a fiduciary, I have to tell people what's right for them. Well, mathematically, an annuity is not going to be right for you, right? You're going to pay a premium, and you're going to pay too. You're not going to get what you pay for, right? Because you're paying a premium. It's right there in the title, so you know that. However, there are times. So for most people, don't do an annuity, just do it on your own, invest your own money. You can create your own annuity. I do this with portfolios all the time. I'll be like, tell me what you want it to yield. It's like, well, I want to yield 3.5. So it's like I re-wicker the portfolio with the software tools that we have here at Ankerstar Wealth and yield a 3.5%. That is very easy to do if you're in the business and you know how to do it. However, if it's not, or the markets just scare the crap out of you because you don't like seeing the up and down motion of the ocean, or the roller coaster ride that we talk about with the markets, then you can buy an annuity. So if you buy it, obviously you're turning money over to an insurance company who's going to write a contract, and then the rules are set up such that they're going to give you money on a certain schedule, that sort of thing, your own money back, if you will. But they also, they take the emotion out of it. So that's the real value, is you're paying up for the ability to kind of check out on the whole thing and just have it become a guarantee for the rest of your life. If you find that, I'm not saying that's bad, but if you find that attractive, then that's when you would want to pursue an annuity. Some folks like to, especially if you have, the $2-3 million, take $1 million of it and set the $1 million up in an annuity. So you have a portion of your net worth, you have an annuitized portion there that you're not getting full value, but you are getting a steady income stream from that. Like I said, I can do that with your portfolio. Most financial professionals can, if they have the appropriate, training and software to be able to set that up for you. But this headline here is kind of telling, right? So when are annuity sales the biggest? Well, the insurance companies are excellent at getting on the big channels, the CNBCs, the Fox News, CNNs, and scaring the bejesus out of you. So you buy these things, right? So when are people most scared? Well, they were just scared during 2022 when the market was selling off, and you have some trusted name, that some actor, right? Because you trust actors, right? Because they're actors, I guess. So on TV, and they're telling you should buy one of these things and pass the risk off to the insurance company. Well, all those are all scare tactics. They show up every single time. So, again, sales hit the record last year, eclipsing the 2008 financial crisis, where there actually was a legitimate crisis. Largely this last year, we keep saying there's a crisis, and we're waiting for it. But that's when they'll come after you for the gold sales, the annuity sales, the reverse mortgages, all of kind of what I would call the lower tier and the bad investments that are out there. But just be on the lookout for these things. A lot of times when you buy them, you bought it for life. So make sure you know what you're doing before you sign up for one of these. So it could be right for you, but it's not right for most people, in my opinion.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Please submit your questions as a comment through social media or directly to our email at vipservices@ankerstarwealth.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to get daily updates. That's all we have for today's show. I'm Allison Ankerstar, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.